Hello there, and welcome to the Dreamy Science channel. I'm so glad you found your way here, because tonight we'll be drifting through the quiet wonders of the world we call home. Wherever you are, let this be your moment to slow down. Let the noise soften, the edges blur, and your thoughts settle like leaves on still water. Tonight, we're staying grounded on Earth. Life on this planet is more mysterious, resilient, and extraordinary than most of us ever imagine. From glowing oceans to immortal jellyfish, from ancient underground forests to microscopic creatures that can survive in space, Earth is alive in ways that will surprise you, soothe you, and stir something deep within you. If this kind of peaceful wonder brings you calm or sparks your curiosity, consider liking and subscribing. It helps others find their way here, one sleepy soul at a time. But for now, get comfortable, take a deep breath, and let's begin this slow and soothing journey through the miracles of life on Earth. Near the warm coastal waters of the Mediterranean and in oceans around the world drifts a creature that defies one of nature's most universal laws. The Pteridopus dorni, often called the immortal jellyfish, has a remarkable ability. When injured, aged, or threatened, it can revert its body to an earlier stage of life. Like a butterfly turning back into a caterpillar, it returns to its polyp form, the jellyfish equivalent of childhood, and begins again. This has been observed repeatedly in laboratories. The jellyfish can cycle through its life stages over and over, potentially indefinitely, unless eaten or destroyed. It doesn't hold the key to eternal life for humans, but it reminds us that nature's imagination far exceeds our own. Here, floating quietly in the sea, is a creature that rewinds time, not once, but again and again. 4. Constant memories. Trees whisper to each other through a hidden network. In the stillness of a forest, there is a secret conversation taking place beneath your feet. Trees, long thought to be solitary giants, are connected by underground networks of fungal threads known as mycorrhizae. Through these delicate filaments, trees exchange nutrients, send chemical signals, and even share warnings about pests or drought. Older trees, sometimes called mother trees, support younger ones by funneling sugars and resources through this hidden web. Some scientists have begun calling it the wood wide web. A dying tree may pass its last energy to the forest. It is a quiet form of intelligence, not conscious, but deeply cooperative. In this silent world of roots and fungi, the forest is not a collection of individuals, but a single breathing, sharing community. Tardigrades can survive in outer space. They are tiny, strange, and nearly indestructible. Tardigrades, often called water bears, are microscopic creatures less than a millimeter long that look like wrinkled, eight-legged gummy bears under a microscope. But don't let their size fool you. Tardigrades can survive conditions that would destroy almost any other form of life. Freezing temperatures close to absolute zero, boiling heat, crushing pressure, radiation, and even the vacuum of space. In 2007, scientists launched them into orbit, and they came back alive. How? By entering a state called cryptobiosis, drying themselves out almost completely and suspending their metabolism. They don't die, they simply wait, sometimes for years. And when water returns, they wake up and carry on. Tardigrades remind us that life is tougher, stranger, and more adaptable than we ever imagined. Today, we breathe it, with every moment. But long ago, oxygen was Earth's most dangerous pollutant. Then came cyanobacteria, tiny photosynthetic microbes that began releasing oxygen as a byproduct. Over millions of years, oxygen accumulated in the oceans and air, triggering what is now known as the Great Oxidation Event. For countless ancient species, oxygen was toxic. It corroded cells and disrupted ancient metabolisms, causing a mass extinction. But for others, this invisible gas became a new source of energy, eventually powering the rise of complex multicellular life, including us. The breath that keeps you alive is also the legacy of a catastrophe. Oxygen is not just life-giving. Its history is written in every inhale. Some go hunting. Carnivorous plants, like the Venus flytrap, pitcher plant, and sundew, lure insects with sweet scents or sticky nectar, then snap or trap them. A Venus flytrap counts the footsteps of its prey, only closing when it senses multiple touches within a short time. Pitcher plants form deep, slippery wells filled with digestive enzymes where insects slide in and cannot escape. Sundews glisten with tiny tentacles that curl slowly around their prey. These plants live in nutrient-poor soil where nitrogen is scarce, so they adapt not with teeth or claws, but with patience and clever design. Even the gentlest green leaf can hide a quiet appetite. Each one is a finely tuned machine, soft to the touch, yet built with microscopic precision. At its heart lies a delicate network of veins, like rivers, branching across a landscape, carrying water, minerals, and sugars to every corner. The surface is dotted with tiny pores called stomata, valves that open and close to let carbon dioxide in and oxygen out. The green pigment chlorophyll captures sunlight and converts it into energy, not just for the plant, but for nearly every living thing on Earth. Some leaves can track the sun across the sky, others repel water, trap insects, or store heat. No two are exactly the same. Each leaf is a masterpiece, fragile, beautiful, and alive with purpose. Imagine walking along a quiet beach at night and seeing the waves glow with an eerie blue-green light. This phenomenon is real, and it is caused by tiny living things known as bioluminescent plankton. When disturbed by movement, a crashing wave, or the swirl of a swimmer's hand, they release a flash of cold light. It is not reflected moonlight, but a chemical reaction inside their bodies, the same kind of glow used by fireflies in the summer sky. In places like Mosquito Bay in Puerto Rico, this glow can light up entire shorelines, turning the sea into a shimmering dreamscape. No electricity, no magic, just biology. In the darkened tide, the sea offers a quiet, glowing reminder that even in the deepest waters, life finds a way to shine. You might feel like a single person, one body, one mind, but in reality, you are an entire living community. Your body contains more microbial cells than human ones. Trillions of bacteria, viruses, fungi, and archaea live on your skin, in your mouth, and deep within your gut. This collection is called your microbiome, and it is not just along for the ride. It helps digest your food, trains your immune system, produces vitamins, and even influences your mood and behavior. Some microbes protect you, others compete with invaders. And just as no two fingerprints are alike, your microbiome is uniquely yours. So the next time you feel alone, remember, you are never truly by yourself. You are a walking ecosystem, a world within a world. Ants can build bridges out of their own bodies. In the forests of South America, army ants flow across the jungle floor like a living river. When they reach a gap or obstacle, they don't stop. Instead, they build bridges out of themselves. One ant anchors to a branch, another climbs onto its back, then another and another, until a living structure forms, flexible, strong, and adjusting in real time to the weight of traffic above. These living bridges are not commanded by a leader. They emerge from local decisions, each ant responding to its neighbors, guided by instinct and contact. It is a stunning example of collective intelligence, a shape-shifting structure made entirely of life, one body among many, all working as one. How far are you? Octopuses can rewrite their own genetic instructions. In the silent depths of the ocean, the octopus drifts like a dream, shape-shifting, color-shifting, watching with eerie, alien eyes. Already one of the most intelligent creatures on Earth, it holds an even stranger secret. Octopuses can edit their own RNA, the molecular instructions that translate DNA into proteins. While most animals stick to the genetic code they were born with, octopuses can make real-time adjustments to how their genes are expressed. This means they can fine-tune their biology on the fly, altering how their neurons work, how they sense temperature, or how they respond to stress. We don't fully understand why or how they do this, but it adds one more mystery to a creature that already seems to come from another world. Most animals can see their reflection, but very few seem to recognize it. Self-recognition is often seen as a sign of higher awareness, a sense of self. In the mirror test, an animal is marked with a spot it cannot see without a reflection. If it tries to examine or remove the mark while looking in the mirror, it suggests it knows the image is itself. So far, only a handful of species have passed: great apes, dolphins, elephants, magpies, and possibly manta rays. Even some fish show signs of mirror awareness. This doesn't mean they have human-style consciousness, but it hints at something remarkable, that awareness may not belong to us alone. The spark of self might flicker in minds very different from ours. Over the past 500 million years, our planet has experienced at least 5 mass extinction events, each wiping out the majority of species living at the time. The most devastating, known as the Permian extinction, erased over 90% of marine life and 70% of land species. Volcanoes, asteroids, climate shifts. Each time the world was transformed, and each time life came back. Not the same life, but something new. From the ashes of extinction, ecosystems reshaped themselves. Tiny survivors became the ancestors of new lineages. We are part of that story, born from ancient survivors who endured darkness and silence and found a way forward, a thread unbroken, even through catastrophe. In the shaded dampness of a forest, a strange drama unfolds. Certain fungi infect insects, such as ants, infiltrating the bodies and releasing chemicals that alter behavior. The ant, now under fungal control, climbs high into the vegetation and clamps onto a leaf or branch. Then, it stops. The fungus kills its host and sprouts a stalk from the body, releasing spores to infect others below. It is a precise cycle honed over millions of years. Scientists still don't fully understand how the fungus manipulates the nervous system so effectively. But in this quiet war of biology, even the smallest organisms wield astonishing power. The forest is more than green and peaceful. It is full of unseen strategies, some elegant and some terrifying. Look around you. The sky, the ocean, the shimmer of butterfly wings. Blue seems everywhere, and yet, in the natural world, blue is one of the rarest pigments. Most blue creatures, blue jays, morpho butterflies, peacocks, don't actually contain blue pigment. Their color comes from structure. Microscopic patterns on their surfaces bend and scatter light in a way that reflects blue wavelengths. It is called structural coloration, an optical illusion made by shape, not dye. True blue pigments are difficult for living organisms to produce, and very few have managed it. Every natural blue is a kind of trick, light dancing on the edge of biology and physics. The next time you see a flash of blue in the wild, you are not just seeing color. You are seeing light playing with the smallest architecture of life. 145 million pounds below the wave. 2 million pounds below the wave. All million pounds. Elephants grieve their dead. Among the grasses and dust of the savannah, elephants do something few other animals are known to do. They mourn. When an elephant comes across the bones of a deceased companion, it slows down, touches the remains with its trunk, and lingers. Some have been observed returning to the same spot years later, gently examining the bones again. Elephants have even been seen standing guard over the dying, staying nearby, refusing to leave. Their grief may not be exactly like ours, but it is something deeply felt. They form strong family bonds, remember old companions, and seem to carry emotional weight. It is a quiet truth that humbles us, that empathy, loss, and love may not belong only to humans. In the hearts of these great, gentle giants, something very old and tender stirs. Coral reefs are among the most vibrant ecosystems on Earth, but they are not built by plants or rocks. They are built by animals. Each coral is a colony of tiny creatures called polyps. They feed by extending stinging tentacles to catch plankton, and they build their homes by secreting calcium carbonate, creating stony skeletons that accumulate over centuries into massive underwater structures stretching for hundreds of miles. Despite covering less than 1% of the ocean floor, coral reefs support nearly a quarter of all marine life. They are living cities built not by design, but by the slow labor of millions of unseen architects. Delicate, colorful, and deeply vulnerable, reefs are a reminder of how much life can rise from the smallest of hands. They look like something from a science fiction film, and in many ways, they behave like it too. Slime molds are single-celled organisms that live in soil and decaying wood. They have no brain, no nervous system, and yet they can solve mazes. In laboratory experiments, a slime mold placed in a maze with food at 2 exits spreads out in all directions, then pulls back, leaving behind the most efficient path between the 2 points. It doesn't think. It doesn't plan. But somehow, through chemical gradients and feedback, it figures it out. Slime molds have even been used to model human transportation networks, showing surprising parallels. It is a mesmerizing reminder that intelligence comes in many forms, and not all of them need a brain. Each day, as sunlight warms the canopy, billions of trees release moisture into the air through transpiration. This vapor rises, cools, and condenses into clouds, which fall again as rain, feeding the forest below. The Amazon generates much of its own weather in a self-sustaining cycle, so vast it influences rainfall patterns across an entire continent and even the Atlantic. The forest is not just a collection of trees, but a vast breathing system. When parts of it are lost through deforestation or fire, the cycle weakens, rain lessens, droughts spread. The Amazon is often called the lungs of the earth, but it is also the beating heart of South America's skies, pulsing moisture, breath, and life into the air itself. In the icy stillness of winter, some frogs undergo one of the most astonishing transformations in the animal kingdom. They freeze. Not just slow down, they literally turn solid. The wood frog of North America can survive being frozen for days or even weeks. Its heart stops, its blood turns to ice, organs shut down, and its body stiffens completely. But thanks to natural antifreeze compounds in its tissues, the frog cells remain intact. When spring returns and temperatures rise, the ice melts and the frog hops away as if nothing happened. Scientists study these frogs hoping to learn how to preserve human tissues or understand extreme biological resilience. They are quiet miracles of adaptation, tiny amphibians that defy winter's grip and return, heartbeat by heartbeat, to the living world. Beneath the surface of the sea, songs drift through the dark, long, slow, and haunting. The calls of blue whales can travel for thousands of miles underwater. These low-frequency vocalizations are among the loudest and deepest sounds made by any animal, and in the quiet depths, they can echo from coast to coast. Whales use these songs to find mates, navigate, and communicate across vast distances. Each population has its own dialect, and their songs can evolve over time, passed down like oral traditions. Some species, like the humpback, create long, intricate melodies that shift year by year, with different whales contributing new phrases. We don't fully understand everything they are saying, but we know it matters. These are not random sounds. They are messages, shared across a watery world among creatures who have roamed Earth's oceans for longer than any human memory. How to find the absolute atoms of life. Seeds can sleep for thousands of years. Seeds are tiny time travelers. Inside each one is the blueprint for life, along with an incredible patience. Some seeds can remain dormant for decades, even centuries, waiting for the perfect moment to sprout. In one remarkable case, a date palm seed found at a 2,000-year-old archaeological site was successfully germinated in modern times. It had slept through empires, seasons, and silence. Then, with water and warmth, awoke and grew. Seeds can survive freezing, fire, and burial under meters of earth, equipped with protective coats and finely tuned sensitivity to their environment. When the moment is right, not before, they begin again. In every seed is a quiet promise that life can wait, endure, and return. A single grain of stillness holding the future in its shell. Bioluminescence has evolved over 40 times. The glow of fireflies, the twinkle of plankton in the surf, the flickering lure of a deep-sea anglerfish, these lights are not borrowed. They are made by life itself. Bioluminescence, the ability to produce light through chemical reactions, has evolved independently at least 40 times across the tree of life. From bacteria to fungi, from squid to jellyfish, organisms have developed their own ways to glow. Some use light to attract prey, others to warn predators. Some use it to find mates or to vanish in plain sight. In the deep ocean, where sunlight never reaches, bioluminescence is everywhere, a flickering, drifting constellation of living stars. The chemistry is elegant. An enzyme called luciferase interacts with a molecule called luciferin, releasing energy as visible light. Simple, silent, and stunning, a shared language of glow that life has written again and again. Andrew Devon, your bones are made of stardust. It is not poetry, it is physics. The calcium in your bones, the very structure that holds you upright, was forged in the heart of ancient stars. In the final moments of a massive star's life, elements heavier than helium are created through nuclear fusion. When the star explodes in a supernova, those elements scatter across space, drifting into clouds of dust and gas, until gravity pulls them together once more. Planets form, oceans rise, and eventually, on one small blue world, life begins. The calcium, iron, carbon, and oxygen in your body all trace back to those ancient stellar explosions. You don't just live in the universe, you are the universe, arranged in a pattern that can think, breathe, and wonder. You are quite literally made of stardust, walking on a world shaped by light and time. But to many insects, especially bees, flowers look completely different. They can see ultraviolet light, a part of the spectrum invisible to the human eye. A plain-looking petal might blaze with glowing patterns, landing guides, and radiant rings, all designed to lead pollinators to the nectar within. These patterns are not just beautiful, they are functional, evolved through mutual benefit. The flower gets pollinated, the bee gets fed. Other insects use UV vision to navigate, find mates, or spot predators. While we share the same planet, we do not share the same visual world. There is a hidden spectrum all around us, filled with colors we will never quite see. Peeping the Australian outback, kangaroos carry a remarkable secret: the ability to pause time inside their own bodies. When conditions are harsh or when a joey is already in the pouch, a mother kangaroo can delay the development of a fertilized egg. This phenomenon, called embryonic diapause, lets her body wait for the right moment to continue the pregnancy. She might be nurturing one joey outside the womb, one in the pouch, and have a third on pause, all at once. When food becomes available or the pouch is vacated, the embryo resumes development. It is a brilliant strategy for survival in an unpredictable climate, a natural pause button that gives kangaroos extraordinary control over the timing of new life. In the colorful chaos of coral reefs, some fish carry an astonishing secret. They can change from male to female, or the other way around. Clownfish live in small social groups with a strict hierarchy. The largest fish is always female, and only she breeds with the dominant male. If she dies, the male changes sex, becoming the new matriarch. In other species, like wrasses, females can become males when the dominant male disappears. This transition is not just behavioral, it is biological. Hormones shift, organs restructure, roles reverse. It is a natural adaptation that helps maintain reproduction in dynamic environments. In the ocean, identity is not always fixed. It can shift with need, with opportunity, and with the currents of chance. Every year, birds travel thousands of miles across mountains, oceans, and continents. Well aware of Greek science and long-term pressure from the country. One secret lies deep within their biology: the ability to sense Earth's magnetic field. Some birds have tiny crystals of magnetite in their beaks or heads, acting like internal compasses. Others may use specialized proteins in their eyes, allowing them to see magnetic fields as patterns or visual cues. This magnetic sense, called magnetoreception, works alongside the sun, stars, and landscape to guide their way. It is a subtle and elegant system, an ancient map etched into the nervous system. Birds fly home not just by memory or instinct, but by feeling the invisible forces that surround the Earth itself. The Earth breathes through the carbon cycle. The Earth is alive in more ways than we often realize, and one of its deepest rhythms is the carbon cycle. Carbon moves through air, water, plants, animals, and rocks in a slow, interconnected flow. When you breathe out, you release carbon dioxide. Plants take it in during photosynthesis, building leaves, stems, and roots. Animals eat those plants. Decomposers break down what's left. Volcanoes emit it. Oceans absorb it. Some carbon becomes fossil fuels, some becomes stone, and some lingers in the air. This global exchange helps regulate climate, support life, and shape ecosystems across eons. And right now, it is out of balance, tilted by human activity. Understanding this cycle helps us see Earth not as static, but as breathing, in and out, light and dark, growth and decay. A living system, quietly spinning in space. Before plants, before animals, even before oxygen, there were bacteria, and some of them built structures that still stand today. A peaceful pride of wells was nothing but purple. Stromatolites are ancient rock-like formations found in shallow waters around the world, made by cyanobacteria that trap and bind sediments, layer by layer. Fossilized stromatolites date back over 3.5 billion years, making them among the oldest evidence of life on Earth. These microbial communities helped shape the planet's surface and atmosphere, releasing oxygen as a byproduct of photosynthesis. Eventually, that oxygen changed everything, paving the way for complex life. Today, living stromatolites can still be found in Shark Bay, Australia, quiet, strange, and ancient. monuments to the earliest engineers, builders without tools, architects without eyes. Dolphins have names for each other. In the ocean's shimmering blue, dolphins communicate with an intricate language of clicks and whistles. But there is something even more remarkable. They seem to have names. Each dolphin develops a unique signature whistle early in life, a kind of acoustic identity. Other dolphins learn and remember this whistle, using it to call out to specific individuals. When researchers played back a dolphin's own signature whistle, the animal responded, much like a person might turn when hearing their name called. This behavior suggests a level of social memory and individual identity previously thought to be uniquely human. Dolphins live in complex, ever-changing groups, and being able to identify specific individuals helps maintain bonds and navigate their fluid social world. In the deep, dolphins speak, and in their calls, we glimpse the roots of language itself. Interactivity and science and ideology. The Sahara was once green. Today, the Sahara stretches like a golden sea, vast, hot, and dry. But not so long ago, it was something else entirely. Roughly 6,000 to 8,000 years ago, much of the Sahara was green. Rain fell regularly, rivers flowed, lakes shimmered in the sun. Elephants, crocodiles, giraffes, and humans lived there, leaving behind cave paintings of abundant life. This period, known as the African humid period, was driven by subtle shifts in Earth's orbit that altered the strength of seasonal monsoons. Eventually, the rains faded and the desert returned. But deep beneath the sands lie ancient lake beds, fossilized trees, and buried evidence of a world transformed. The Sahara is not just a desert, it is a memory, a reminder that even the harshest landscapes were once soft, green, and alive. MIL. Bees can understand the concept of zero. They are tiny, they buzz, and they pollinate our world. But bees can also do something astonishing. They seem to understand zero. In experiments, bees were trained to associate fewer shapes with a sweet reward. When presented with a blank card containing no shapes at all, they correctly chose it over cards with one or more. This suggests bees grasp the abstract idea that none is less than some. Only a handful of animals, chimpanzees, dolphins, and parrots, have demonstrated this kind of numerical reasoning. That bees, with their tiny brains, can do the same is remarkable. It hints at a form of intelligence not limited by brain size, but shaped by need and evolution. Inside a hive, thousands of minds work as one. But even the individual bee holds surprises: small body, big mind, a quiet buzz, and a brilliant brain. Wolves change the shape of rivers. When wolves were reintroduced to Yellowstone National Park in the 1990s, something incredible happened. They didn't just affect deer populations, they reshaped the entire landscape. With predators back in place, grazing animals changed their behavior, and vegetation along riverbanks recovered. Trees and shrubs grew taller. Birds returned. Beavers built dams. Healthier plant life stabilized the soil, reducing erosion and changing how water flowed. In some places, rivers actually shifted course. This phenomenon, known as a trophic cascade, shows how a single species can transform an entire ecosystem simply by doing what it naturally does. Every creature plays a role, sometimes subtle, sometimes profound. In the howl of a returning wolf, the land begins to heal. Flowers can hear the buzz of bees. We often think of flowers as passive, colorful, fragrant, and still. But some flowers are listening. Research has shown that certain plants can respond to the sound of a bee's wings. When a pollinator approaches, the vibration triggers the flower to produce sweeter nectar within just minutes. The flower doesn't have eyes, but its petals vibrate in response to specific frequencies, acting like sensory organs that detect nearby pollinators. This helps ensure the plant offers a better reward exactly when a visitor arrives. It is a quiet dialogue. The bee calls, the flower answers. Even without nerves or a brain, plants can sense, respond, and adapt in real time. The garden is not silent. It is full of delicate, humming conversations. Alan Hammond Hell. Lichens are two organisms living as one. On stones, tree bark, and mountain cliffs, you will find lichens. Simple crusty patches of color clinging to the surface. These quiet organisms hold a surprising truth. A lichen is not one life form, but two, or sometimes more. It is a partnership between a fungus and an alga or cyanobacterium. The fungus provides structure and protection. The photosynthetic partner makes food from sunlight. Together they survive in places too harsh for either alone, from Arctic tundra to dry deserts. Lichens are ancient, stable, and essential to many ecosystems. They break down rock into soil, provide food, and create shelter. Two species, one life, a quiet collaboration written into the surface of the world. They are strange, wrinkled, and live underground, but naked mole rats are among the most biologically fascinating mammals alive. They don't show the typical increase in mortality risk as they get older. They resist cancer, tolerate low oxygen environments, and can live up to 30 years, an extraordinarily long time for a rodent. Their cells remain stable and their proteins resist damage. A 5-year-old mole rat looks very much like a 25-year-old one internally. They live in complex underground colonies with a single breeding queen, much like insects. Scientists study them for clues about longevity, cancer resistance, and resilience under stress. In the dim tunnels beneath the earth, these creatures lead quiet, hidden lives, soft-skinned and small, but carrying secrets that may one day help us all. You are made of approximately 30 trillion cells. Every breath, every thought, every heartbeat is the work of countless microscopic parts, each with its own role. Muscle cells contract, neurons fire, red blood cells deliver oxygen, skin cells renew, immune cells defend. Together, these diverse cells form a single unified body, one being made of many. Your body is also full of constant movement. Cells are dying and being replaced every day. You are not static. You are a living symphony of cellular cooperation, always rebuilding, always rebalancing. Even now, as you rest, millions of cells are working quietly to keep you whole. You are not one thing. You are a community, a miracle of coordination, humming softly beneath your skin. Parrots are colorful, talkative, and playful, but they are also among the most intelligent animals on the planet. Studies have shown that some species, like the African gray parrot, can count, understand concepts like same and different, and even grasp the idea of zero. One famous parrot, named Alex, learned to identify colors, shapes, and quantities. He could ask for what he wanted, express frustration, and answer complex questions, performing on par with, or better than a human toddler in many tasks. Parrots use their intelligence in the wild too, solving problems and navigating complex social groups. Their brains are structured differently from ours, but evolution has found a parallel path. When a parrot speaks, it may not just be mimicking. It may also be thinking. The ocean holds more life than all land combined. We walk the land and live beneath the sky, but most of Earth's life is hidden beneath the waves. The ocean covers more than 70% of the planet's surface and contains the vast majority of all living biomass. From the tiniest plankton to the largest whales, From glowing jellies to forests of kelp, marine life thrives in forms almost too numerous to count. We have explored only a fraction of the deep ocean. Much of it remains untouched, mysterious, and brimming with unknown life. Even a single drop of seawater can contain thousands of microscopic organisms. The sea is not empty. It is teeming, a vast living world beneath the surface, pulsing with currents and song. The greatest wilderness on Earth is blue. Earth's oldest living organism is a hidden forest. In a quiet grove in Utah stands what may be the oldest known living organism on Earth. It doesn't look ancient, just a cluster of ordinary trees with trembling leaves, but beneath the surface, they are all connected. This is Pando, a clonal colony of quaking aspens. Each trunk is genetically identical, part of a single root system estimated to be over 80,000 years old. Pando doesn't reproduce with seeds. Instead, it sends up new stems from its roots, generation after generation, forming a living forest that is also a single being. Though individual trunks die and regrow, the organism endures, surviving ice ages, storms, and thousands of years of change. A forest that is one tree, ancient, quiet, and still very much alive. Some viruses can be beneficial. When we think of viruses, we usually think of illness. But not all viruses are harmful. Some play essential roles in shaping life, evolution, and our health. Certain viruses attack harmful bacteria in the human gut, helping maintain microbial balance. Others influence gene expression or help cells adapt to stress. In fact, nearly 8% of the human genome comes from ancient viral DNA that was incorporated into our ancestors' cells millions of years ago. Some of these viral genes are now vital to our biology, involved in brain development and reproduction. Viruses are not just invaders. They are part of life's long history, tiny threads woven into the fabric of who we are, not only as threats, but sometimes as quiet allies. Sharks have been here longer than trees. Sharks are often seen as modern predators, sleek, fast, and formidable, but their lineage is far older than it appears. Sharks have existed for over 400 million years. Trees, by comparison, appeared only around 350 million years ago. That means sharks were swimming in Earth's oceans before a single leaf shaded the land. They have survived all 5 mass extinctions, including the one that wiped out the dinosaurs. Their basic body plan has changed very little over time, a testament to how effective and well adapted they are. Each glide through the water is a movement shaped by eons, silent, steady, and enduring. Rainforests create their own clouds. Rainforests aren't just shaped by weather, they help create it. Every day, trees draw water from the soil and release it through their leaves in a process called transpiration. This moisture rises into the air, condenses into clouds, and falls again as rain. In places like the Amazon, this constant cycling of water sustains rainfall not just locally, but across entire regions. When trees are lost, the effect is profound. Less moisture means fewer clouds, and eventually, less rain. A tipping point can be reached where the forest can no longer sustain its own climate. Rainforests are not passive landscapes. They are engines of the atmosphere, breathing out mist, cloud, and life. When you stand beneath the canopy, you are standing in the lungs of a continent. Decorator crabs wear living camouflage. In the coastal shallows, one small creature practices a quiet kind of camouflage with a remarkable twist. Decorator crabs don't just blend into their environment, they become part of it. They carefully pick up bits of algae, seaweed, and sponges and attach them to their shells using tiny hooked hairs. Some even place live sponges on their backs, which continue to grow as the crab moves. This serves multiple purposes: hiding from predators, mimicking the surroundings, and sometimes gaining chemical protection from the sponge's natural toxins. It is a collaboration, a creature that wears its home like a costume, constantly adjusting to remain unseen. In the quiet waters, disguise becomes art. The world belongs to insects. For every human on Earth, there are an estimated 200 million insects. They live in every ecosystem, from rainforest canopies to frozen tundra, from desert sands to ocean shores. Beetles alone make up nearly a quarter of all known animal species. Insects pollinate crops, recycle nutrients, break down waste, and feed countless other creatures. They have been here for over 400 million years and have survived every extinction event. Though small, they are mighty, shaping the world in ways most of us never see. We may feel like we rule the land, but insects were here first, and they will very likely be here long after we are gone. Birds of paradise dance for love. Deep in the rainforests of New Guinea, birds of paradise display an almost unbelievable beauty. Feathers shimmer in metallic blues, fiery oranges, and velvet blacks. Some sprout plumes like streamers, others unfold fans or bounce on long trailing wires. But it is not just about appearance. These birds perform elaborate dances, each species with its own choreography. They hop, spin, bow, and pose in precise sequences, accompanied by clicks, whistles, and flutters. Females watch from above, choosing mates based on performance. This intense selection has driven the evolution of some of the most extravagant traits in the animal kingdom. Behind every dance is a quiet story of patience, showmanship, and life's wild creativity. Spider silk is stronger than steel. In the quiet corners of attics, trees, and garden gates, spiders spin something extraordinary. Their silk, drawn from their bodies in long, delicate strands, is among the strongest materials in nature. Weight for weight, spider silk is stronger than steel and far more flexible. It can stretch without breaking, absorb enormous energy, and form complex structures like webs, nets, and egg sacs. Each thread is made from proteins, arranged in microscopic patterns, assembled with perfect precision. Different spiders produce different kinds of silk: sticky, smooth, tough, or soft, each with its own purpose. Scientists study spider silk for use in medical sutures, lightweight engineering, and protective materials. But for now, the spider spins quietly, crafting miracles from within, one silky thread at a time. Fireflies use light to speak. On warm summer nights, the dark comes alive with tiny flashes of light. Fireflies communicate with bioluminescent signals, blinking patterns that vary by species, region, and gender. Males fly through the air, flashing specific rhythms. Females respond with timed replies from the grass or trees. It is a courtship dialogue written in light. Inside their abdomens, fireflies mix chemicals to create cold, glowing light, a process that produces no heat. Fireflies also use their light to warn predators. Some species taste bitter or are mildly toxic, and their glow is both beauty and signal, a living language of flashes that dances through the dark. Some monkeys use plants as medicine. In the forests of Africa and South America, some primates do more than eat plants. They use them as medicine. Researchers have observed chimpanzees deliberately seeking out bitter, non-nutritive plants when sick or injured. They chew specific stems, swallow rough leaves whole, or rub certain substances onto their skin. Many of these plants contain antibacterial, antifungal, or antiparasitic compounds. Chimpanzees with intestinal parasites had been seen eating bitter leaves that help purge the worms, and they consume these plants only when symptoms appear, not casually. This behavior challenges the idea that only humans use healing remedies. Among the branches and leaves, a pharmacy waits, and some animals already know how to use it. Every breath you take is a gift, not just from trees, but from the ocean. Tiny organisms called phytoplankton, drifting near the sea's surface, perform photosynthesis, just like plants. They absorb sunlight, take in carbon dioxide, and release oxygen. Despite their microscopic size, these algae produce more than half of Earth's breathable oxygen and form the invisible foundation of marine food chains, supporting everything from krill to whales. They are not visible from shore, but they are everywhere, a shimmering cloud beneath the waves. With each exhale, remember, the ocean is breathing with you. Crows can plan for the future. In forests and cities alike, crows go about their days with remarkable foresight. These birds have been observed saving tools for future use, hiding food in secure locations, and even choosing a less immediate reward if it meant getting something better later. They have used sticks to fish out food, bent wires into hooks, and demonstrated a clear understanding of cause and effect. Some crows remember the faces of people who have wronged them and hold grudges for years. Their intelligence rivals that of great apes, despite their much smaller brains. Unlike many animals, crows think ahead rather than simply acting on impulse. They are planners, problem solvers, quiet minds in feathered coats, watching, learning, and remembering. Some crows remember the faces of people who have wronged them and hold grudges for years. Their intelligence rivals that of great apes, despite their much smaller brains. Unlike many animals, crows think ahead rather than simply acting on impulse. They are planners, problem solvers, quiet minds in feathered coats, watching, learning, and remembering. Snakes can see heat. For some snakes, sight doesn't end with light. Pit vipers, pythons, and boas possess special facial organs called pit receptors, small openings that detect infrared radiation. This allows them to sense the body heat of warm-blooded prey, even in total darkness. The image they perceive is not like human vision. It is more like a thermal map, a glowing silhouette of warm shapes against a cooler background. This ability gives these snakes a powerful edge during nocturnal hunts, helping them strike with astonishing accuracy. It is not magic, but physics tuned into biology. A reminder that every species moves through its own version of reality, shaped by the tools evolution has provided. For most of the year, the Arctic tundra sleeps beneath ice, wind, and silence. But when summer arrives, brief, bright, and urgent, everything changes. In a matter of days, the frozen soil softens. The sun stays in the sky nearly all day, and the ground erupts with flowers, mosses, and grasses in a sudden, breathtaking bloom. Pollinators buzz, birds return to nest, mammals forage and raise their young. All of it must happen within a short window, sometimes just 8 weeks, before winter returns. It is a burst of energy that echoes across the food web. The tundra knows how to seize the moment. In its ancient rhythm of stillness and bloom, life keeps time with the sun. A fungus that turns ants into zombies. Deep in tropical forests, a quiet and eerie transformation unfolds. A parasitic fungus, known as Ophiocordyceps, infects ants and takes control of their behavior. Once inside, the fungus spreads through the ant's body, eventually compelling it to leave its colony, climb a plant stem, and clamp onto a leaf or twig at a precise height. There the ant dies, and the fungus grows a stalk from its body, releasing spores into the air below to infect others. It is not science fiction, It is a real biological strategy, perfected over millions of years. Though unsettling, it is also a striking example of how deeply evolution can shape behavior. The forest holds beauty, yes, but also a darker elegance. Sometimes the smallest organisms wield the most chilling power. C45 Live. Edro sea cucumbers can liquefy their bodies. At first glance, a sea cucumber might not look like much, just a soft, sausage-shaped creature on the ocean floor, but it holds a remarkable ability. When threatened or navigating tight spaces, a sea cucumber can alter the stiffness of its body by rearranging the proteins in its connective tissue. In seconds, it goes from firm and solid to nearly jelly-like, flowing into cracks and crevices for safety. Then, just as quickly, it firms up again. Some species can even expel parts of their internal organs as a defense mechanism, then regenerate them later. It is a survival strategy unlike any other, shape-shifting without bones, muscles, or conscious effort. Soft, silent, and strangely magical, icefish have antifreeze in their blood. In the icy waters of the Antarctic, most creatures would freeze solid, but the icefish doesn't. Its secret is antifreeze, special proteins in its blood that prevent ice crystals from forming. These proteins bind to tiny ice particles and stop them from growing, a biochemical shield against the cold. Icefish also have other unusual adaptations. They lack red blood cells and hemoglobin entirely, giving their blood a pale, almost translucent color. Instead, oxygen dissolves directly into their blood plasma. They move slowly through frigid waters, surviving temperatures that would kill most other vertebrates. Their strange biology is a window into how life adapts in extreme conditions. In the stillness beneath Antarctic ice, the icefish drifts, cold-blooded and utterly unique. Termites build mounds with natural air condition. From the outside, a termite mound may look like just a pile of dirt. But inside, it is a marvel of natural engineering, a city built by insects. Some mounds stretch over 9 meters tall and house millions of termites in a complex network of chambers and tunnels. What is most remarkable, though, is the ventilation. Termites design their mounds to regulate temperature and airflow using convection currents. Warm air rises and escapes through vents, while cooler air is drawn in from below, maintaining a stable internal environment even when outside temperatures swing wildly. No blueprints, no architects, just instinct, iteration, and cooperation. In the soil beneath our feet, insects have built structures that rival our own, quiet, efficient, and beautifully adapted. Some lizards squirt blood from their eyes. It sounds like legend, but it is real. The horned lizard of North America has a bizarre defense mechanism. It can shoot blood from its eyes. When threatened, especially by canine predators, the lizard increases blood pressure in vessels near its eyes until they rupture. A thin stream of blood mixed with foul-tasting chemicals sprays out, sometimes several feet. The sudden burst often confuses or repels attackers, giving the lizard a chance to escape. It is not harmful to the lizard, and the vessels heal quickly. In a world where danger is everywhere, even a drop of blood can become a shield. Small, armored, and surprising, the horned lizard reminds us that nature never runs out of ideas. Long before forests, before fish, before bones or eyes, life began in darkness. Deep in Earth's ancient oceans, hydrothermal vents spewed mineral-rich water into the surrounding sea. Around these vents, conditions were extreme: scalding heat, crushing pressure, and total absence of sunlight. And yet, somehow, life found a foothold. The first organisms were simple, single-celled, without nuclei, feeding on chemicals rather than light, a process known as chemosynthesis. These deep-sea environments are still home to strange, resilient life today. Some scientists believe similar environments might exist on ocean worlds like Europa or Enceladus. If so, life might begin the same way, far from starlight, born in the warm breath of stone and mineral, in the deepest and oldest cradles on Earth. Praise. End of starfish. Starfish can regrow their arms. Beneath the tide, a starfish glides slowly across the seafloor, calm, silent, and wonderfully strange. If one of its arms is lost to a predator, it doesn't panic. It regrows it. Some species can rebuild not just a single arm, but an entire body from a single severed limb, as long as part of the central disc remains. This ability is made possible by a unique network of stem cells and decentralized nerves. The starfish has no brain, just a nerve ring and a system of fluid-filled tubes that help it move and feel. It grows slowly, patiently, rewriting its own body. Scientists study starfish to better understand wound healing and regeneration. In the stillness of the reef, the starfish teaches a quiet lesson that healing is possible and life can renew itself, one piece at a time. The platypus is a biological contradiction. Among Earth's strangest creatures, the platypus stands uniquely apart. It has the bill of a duck, the tail of a beaver, and webbed feet. It lays eggs like a reptile, but feeds its young with milk like a mammal. One of only 5 monotremes, mammals that lay eggs instead of giving live birth, platypuses don't have nipples. Instead, milk seeps through pores in their skin, and the babies lap it from their mother's fur. Males have venomous spurs on their hind legs. They hunt underwater with their eyes closed, using electroreception in their bills to detect the faint electrical signals of prey. Everything about the platypus seems like a contradiction, but it is real. A living relic from an ancient lineage, still paddling through Australia's streams, soft, secretive, and wonderfully odd. Bats use echoes to see in the dark. When night falls, bats take to the skies, finding their way not with sight, but with sound. Through echolocation, they emit high-frequency calls that bounce off objects in their environment. By listening to the returning echoes, they can determine the size, shape, distance, and even texture of what surrounds them. Some can catch a mosquito in midair using only this acoustic map. Their calls are so precise they can fly through dense forests, between branches, or even through gaps no wider than their wingspan. They don't see darkness as we do, they hear space. And in that invisible world of echoes and flutters, the night becomes alive with form, rhythm, and motion. Venus flytraps count before they snap. In the damp, sunny swamps of the Carolinas, a quiet predator waits. The Venus flytrap's leaves are shaped like open jaws, lined with delicate trigger hairs. When an insect touches one hair, nothing happens. Touch 2 hairs, or the same one twice within about 20 seconds, and snap, the trap closes in a fraction of a second. Why the delay? Because counting helps avoid false alarms, like falling raindrops or debris. Only the movements of a real, active prey will reliably trigger the response. Once closed, the flytrap seals tight and digests its meal over several days, then opens again, ready for the next visitor. It is not thinking, but it is sensing, timing, and responding. A plant that measures motion and acts with quiet precision. On the rocky shores of Antarctica, love takes a quiet and unusual form. When it is time to mate, many penguin species begin a delicate courtship with a simple gift, a pebble. The male searches carefully for a smooth, round stone and presents it to the female with a small bow. If she accepts, she places it in her nest, and the two begin building a home together, stone by stone. These nests protect eggs from melting snow and keep them elevated above the cold ground. The best pebbles are in high demand, and sometimes penguins will sneak stones from their neighbors' nests. But the original offering is sincere, a gift, a gesture, a beginning. In the frozen quiet of the south, love speaks not in song or scent, but with the clink of stone against stone. High above the waves, where there is no place to rest, some birds have mastered a remarkable skill, sleeping on the wing. Species like the frigate bird and the alpine swift can stay aloft for days or even weeks, gliding across vast distances without ever landing. To survive, they sleep with only half their brain at a time, a phenomenon called unihemispheric slow-wave sleep. One side of the brain rests while the other stays alert enough to guide flight and avoid danger. Their eyes even take turns staying open. While soaring over the sea, these birds drift in and out of awareness, cradled by the wind. Nature has found a way for rest and motion to coexist. A gentle balance of vigilance and surrender. Dreams carried on wings. Beneath your thoughts, beneath your dreams, your brain glows with quiet fire. Every idea, every memory, every emotion begins as an electrical signal, a spark leaping between neurons in the dark. Your brain contains roughly 86 billion of these cells, each forming thousands of connections, creating an intricate web of communication. These tiny impulses travel down axons, jump across synapses, and cascade into patterns that become feelings, words, and decisions. The result is a living storm of thought, always changing, always alive. Even in deep sleep, your brain hums with low rhythms, waves of electricity pulsing quietly beneath your skull. You are not powered by wires or gears, but by sparks, tiny flickers that give rise to all you are. 532. Cuttlefish can disappear in plain sight. The cell phone runs back from nights with the skulls pupping. Take the eye with a skull. These soft-bodied cephalopods can change the color, texture, and pattern of their skin in the blink of an eye, blending perfectly with sand, rocks, or coral. They use specialized cells that expand or contract to create shifting colors and optical effects. Even more incredibly, cuttlefish are colorblind, and yet they match their surroundings with uncanny accuracy. Scientists believe they use brightness, contrast, and the polarization of light to guide their camouflage. Cuttlefish can also mimic texture, raising bumps or flattening their skin to match whatever surface they rest on. It is not just for hiding, it is for communication, hunting, and expression. One creature, infinite disguises, a living canvas that paints itself anew with every breath. On certain nights of the year, under the light of a full moon, entire coral reefs release their eggs and sperm into the ocean simultaneously. This synchronized spawning event happens with breathtaking precision, often just once a year, timed to the lunar cycle. The moon's light and gravitational rhythm cue the corals to act together, increasing the chances of fertilization in the vast open sea. For a brief window, the water fills with drifting life, a slow-motion snowstorm of new beginnings. Coral spawning is one of the most spectacular reproductive events in nature. Though these animals are stationary, they still dance to the rhythm of the sky. In the quiet reef, the moon cools and life answers. Frogs use their eyes to swallow. Frogs may not chew, but they do something even stranger to get food down. They blink. When a frog captures prey with its sticky tongue and pulls it into its mouth, it doesn't just use throat muscles to swallow. It pulls its eyes downward, sinking them slightly into its skull. This motion presses against the top of the mouth, helping to push the food toward the throat. You can sometimes see it happen, a slow blink, a gentle squeeze, and down goes the meal. It is a perfect example of how evolution repurposes what is already available. In frogs, even sight becomes part of digestion. A blink that is more than a blink, a strange, silent push from behind the eyes. Plants warn each other through the air. When a plant is attacked by a hungry caterpillar, it doesn't suffer in silence. It sends a warning. Some plants release volatile chemicals into the air, signaling nearby plants that danger is near. These neighbors may then boost their own defenses, producing bitter compounds, toxins, or tougher leaves in response. The messages can even be specific. A tomato plant may send different signals depending on whether it is being chewed by an insect or infected by a fungus. Some scientists believe this airborne messaging evolved to help related plants, especially offspring, have a better chance of survival. It is humming with information, leaf to leaf, root to root. In the mountains of Utah or across the forests of Scandinavia, certain tree species can reproduce by cloning themselves. A single tree sends roots underground which sprout new stems at the surface. Each trunk may appear to be a separate tree, but genetically it is part of the same organism. One such clonal colony, named Pando, is estimated to be over 80,000 years old. It began growing when woolly mammoths still walked the earth. Even if individual trunks die, the root system lives on, pushing up new growth year after year, century after century. It is a forest that is also a single being, ancient, quiet, and spread across generations. In this hidden persistence, time takes root and life endures. They may seem simple, blind, silent, and slow, but they play a crucial role in shaping the living world. As they tunnel, earthworms aerate the soil, creating space for roots to grow and for water and air to circulate. They eat decaying organic matter, digest it, and return it to the earth as nutrient-rich castings. Their movement mixes layers of soil, redistributing minerals and organic material. Charles Darwin once wrote that few other animals have played so important a part in the history of the world. Quiet, tireless, and unseen, earthworms are architects of life itself, shaping the ground beneath our feet in every garden, meadow, and forest. Towering above the savanna, giraffes seem almost too tall to rest, and in a way, they are. These gentle giants sleep for as little as 30 minutes to 2 hours per day, usually in short bursts. Their sleep is often taken standing up, though they occasionally lie down briefly for deeper rest, curling their long necks back in an elegant bow. Because their size makes them slow to rise, being caught lying down leaves them vulnerable to predators. So they have evolved to stay alert even during rest. Despite their minimal sleep, giraffes remain active, curious, and socially complex animals. Under the stars, while lions and hyenas roam, the giraffe dreams, but only for a moment. Scientists have discovered microbes that can break down certain types of plastic. Some bacteria and fungi produce enzymes capable of digesting PET, a common material in bottles and packaging. They don't do it quickly, but they do it steadily, turning synthetic waste into simpler compounds they can absorb. These microbes have been found in landfills, soil, and even in the guts of certain insects. The discovery offers hope for more sustainable approaches to plastic pollution. Engineers are now studying how to enhance or replicate these enzymes at larger scales. Even in the mess we have made, life is adapting, finding new niches, new food sources, and new ways to carry on. In the cold northern reaches of the world, the Arctic fox moves silently across snow and stone. Its fur shifts with the seasons, in winter turning pure white to blend with ice and snow, in summer molting to a brown or grey coat to match rocks and tender grasses. This adaptation helps it avoid predators and sneak up on prey. The Arctic fox's fur is also incredibly thick, insulating it against temperatures as low as -50 degrees Celsius. It even grows fur on the soles of its feet. Season by season, it becomes the land it walks upon, a shapeshifter in fur, tuned to the turning of the world. The deep sea is teeming with alien life. Beneath the sunlit surface, far past the reach of light, lies a world that feels like science fiction. The deep sea, cold, dark, and pressurized, is home to creatures unlike anything found on land. Fish with lanterns on their heads, translucent predators, glowing jellyfish, spindly crabs that move like machines. Some survive on chemicals from hydrothermal vents. Others drift in endless twilight, bioluminescent and slow. We have explored only a fraction of the deep ocean. But what we have seen is stunning. An alien planet beneath our own. Quiet, vast, and filled with life that waits in the dark. Tool use was once thought to belong only to primates, but in the wild, some birds are just as clever. New Caledonian crows shape sticks and leaves to extract insects from crevices. Green herons drop small objects onto water to lure fish within striking distance. Woodpecker finches in the Galapagos use twigs like tweezers. Egyptian vultures use rocks to crack open ostrich eggs. These birds don't just find tools, they choose them carefully, modify them, and use them in ways tailored to specific challenges. In some cases, young birds learn by watching their elders, passing knowledge down through generations. It is problem-solving, invention, and a gentle reminder that intelligence isn't bound to hands. It can soar on wings too. Long before a chick breaks free from its shell, it begins to chirp, soft, rhythmic sounds from inside the egg. These calls are more than noise. They are part of an early conversation. Mother hens respond to these chirps, adjusting their behavior, sometimes turning the eggs, sometimes plucking softly in return. Even unhatched siblings can respond to one another, helping to coordinate hatching times. This gentle exchange helps prepare the chick for life outside, building bonds and synchronizing development. Some researchers believe this prenatal communication improves survival. The egg is not silent. It is alive, with tiny voices whispering their arrival, a heartbeat, a breath, and a call, all before the first crack of the shell. Polar bears may look like pure symbols of snow and ice, but beneath their thick fur lies a secret. Their skin is black. That dark surface absorbs and retains heat from the sun, a valuable advantage in the Arctic's bitter climate. Their fur, though it appears white, is actually translucent. Each hair scatters light, creating the appearance of whiteness while allowing sunlight to reach the dark skin below. This layered design offers both camouflage and warmth. Wide paws provide stability on snow, long lashes block blowing ice, and underneath it all, their skin draws in every drop of warmth the environment offers. Not just beautiful, brilliantly engineered for survival in a frozen world. The celebration of the Indian soul. Oh no. Some worms can regrow their entire body. Cut some animals in half, and they perish. But certain species of flatworms, called planarians, can regrow themselves entirely from even tiny fragments. If sliced into multiple pieces, each can become a complete, fully functional worm. This incredible regenerative ability comes from a special population of stem cells called neoblasts. They can transform into any other type of cell, rebuilding muscles, nerves, organs, and even the brain. Scientists study these creatures to understand how regeneration works and whether it could one day help us heal damage in our own bodies. In the stillness of freshwater pools, the flatworm drifts and divides, and each time it is broken, it returns whole again. Life, refusing to be undone. They may seem ordinary, fluttering through cities and pecking at crumbs, but pigeons are remarkably perceptive. Studies have shown they can recognize individual human faces, remembering who has fed them and who hasn't. Even when people change their clothing, pigeons can still identify them based on facial features alone. This ability is part of their highly developed visual memory, which also allows them to navigate vast distances and, in laboratory settings, distinguish between artistic styles or even written words. Once trained, some pigeons can sort objects by category or learn sequences of actions. In the bustle of urban life, they blend into the background, but they are watching, remembering, learning, and you may already be known to them. Within your cells lies a hidden history, not just of your ancestors, but of ancient infections. Around 8% of the human genome comes from retroviruses that infected our distant ancestors millions of years ago. These viruses inserted their genetic material into reproductive cells, and over generations, that DNA became a permanent part of our own. Some of these viral sequences have mutated and gone silent. Others have been repurposed by evolution to serve useful functions, encoding roles in brain development and placenta formation.
You are, in a very real sense, part virus. Not infected, but shaped. Echoes of ancient biological battles, folded into the instructions that make you who you are. The largest living thing is a hidden fungus. It doesn't roar. It doesn't move. It doesn't even look remarkable. But the largest living organism on Earth is a fungus, and it lives quietly beneath a forest in Oregon. This single armillaria fungus spreads underground for over 2,000 acres, forming a vast network of mycelium, the thread-like roots of fungal life. It is estimated to be thousands of years old. Above ground, it occasionally produces small mushrooms. But the real organism lives in the dark, feeding on tree roots and connecting the forest and a silent web. The hidden world beneath your feet may be more alive than what grows above. Bees can learn from watching each other. Bees aren't just busy, they are brilliant. In one experiment, researchers trained bees to roll tiny balls into a goal to receive a sugar reward. Other bees watching nearby quickly learned the task through observation alone. They even improved on the technique, finding more efficient ways to complete it. This kind of social learning, watching and imitating, is rare outside of primates and some bird species. Inside the hive, knowledge spreads like nectar. Not by words or teaching, but by quiet example, followed by action. The buzz of wings carries more than pollen, it carries ideas. Fire ants build floating rafts of their own bodies. When floods sweep through their habitats, fire ants don't panic. They assemble, clinging to one another with mandibles and legs, until thousands form a living raft that floats on water. Each ant grips the next, creating a tightly woven, waterproof structure that carries the colony, queen, larvae, and all, to safety. Air trapped between their bodies helps them float. If the raft is disturbed, it shifts and reforms, adapting to the movement of water. No leader directs this construction. It emerges from simple rules followed by each ant, local decisions giving rise to collective resilience. These living rafts can last for weeks, not just survival tactics, but living machines. In the chaos of floodwaters, a fragile species becomes a single floating organism, calm, cohesive, and unstoppable. Life can thrive in boiling acid pools. In the hostile landscapes of volcanic springs, where temperatures soar and acid sizzles, life still exists. These places, like Yellowstone's hot pools or Ethiopia's Danakil Depression, are home to extremophiles, microbes that thrive in conditions deadly to most organisms. Some endure heat above boiling, others survive in pH levels similar to battery acid. They rely on chemosynthesis rather than photosynthesis, drawing energy from sulfur, iron, or other minerals. These microbes may resemble the earliest life on Earth, and perhaps the kind of life we might one day find on other planets. In the most extreme places, life doesn't just survive. It invents. It finds a foothold in fire. And it whispers, wherever conditions allow, life will try. Plants do math to survive the night. As darkness falls and photosynthesis stops, plants must carefully manage their energy reserves, and they do it with something resembling arithmetic. During the day, they produce sugars from sunlight, stored as starch. At night, they break that starch down to stay alive, but they adjust their consumption rate according to how many hours remain until dawn, dividing available energy across the night ahead with remarkable accuracy. Too fast, and they run out of fuel before morning. Too slow, and energy goes unused. This ability to perform precise biological calculation, not with numbers, but with molecular signals, helps plants survive on minimal resources. Inside every leaf, a quiet calculation unfolds each night, and without eyes or awareness, a plant makes a plan. Because even in sleep, life thinks. Owls fly in almost total silence. When an owl glides through the night, the air remains still. Its flight is nearly silent, a stealth perfected over millions of years. The secret lies in its wings. Owls have a unique feather structure, soft-edged primary feathers that break up turbulence, and a velvety surface coating that muffles sound. Even the spacing of the feathers is tuned to reduce noise. This silence allows them to hunt with extreme precision, listening for the faintest rustle of prey in leaves or snow while making no sound of their own. Other birds announce their flight. The owl's silence is its greatest weapon. It moves through darkness like a shadow with wings, heard only when it chooses to speak. Chameleons change color for mood, not just complicate. Chameleons are known for their dazzling color shifts, but blending in is only part of the story. Their color changes are driven by mood, temperature, and social signals. When calm, they may appear green or brown. During confrontation, excitement, or courtship, they can shift to bright yellows, blues, or vivid reds. They achieve this not through pigments, but by manipulating tiny crystals in their skin that reflect light differently as they rearrange. Structural color, physics rather than paint. Chameleons communicate through their shifting hues, sending warnings, invitations, or signals of submission. The forest becomes a stage, and their skin becomes a message. The Earth's magnetic field shapes animal migration. All around us, invisible lines of force stretch from pole to pole, the Earth's magnetic field, and many animals can feel them. Sea turtles use magnetic signatures to return to the beaches where they were born. Birds navigate thousands of miles with an inner compass. Salmon find their way from the ocean to the exact stream where they first hatched. Even some insects and bacteria use the field to orient themselves. The mechanism is still partly mysterious, possibly involving tiny crystals of magnetite in the body or light-sensitive proteins in the eyes. But the result is clear. The Earth whispers directions, and life listens. Life keeps finding new ways to begin again. Despite disasters, extinctions, and impossible odds, life has never stopped. It emerged from boiling vents in the ocean, spread across continents, took flight, swam into the deep, and soared into the sky. It adapted to cold, heat, acid, vacuum, and time. Every time it seemed cornered, it found a new shape, the new strategy. It grew feathers, fur, armor, and thought. It built coral reefs and root systems, mess, and cities. Even now, in the deepest caves, the saltiest lakes, and the hottest springs, life is beginning again. Not perfect, not always graceful, but endlessly determined. In you, in me, in every leaf and breath and cell. The experiment continues. The story is still being written, closing, and now, with the final fact softly settled into place, let the world grow quiet around you. We have wandered through oceans and forests, deserts and tundras, mountain peaks and ancient roots. We have heard the silent conversations of plants, the glow of jellyfish, the songs of whales. And through it all, a single truth echoes gently beneath the surface. Life is extraordinary, not because it is perfect, but because it persists. It adapts, it endures, and it continues to surprise us. Somewhere right now, a coral is releasing its eggs into the dark. A bird is flying in its sleep. A flower is counting the footsteps of a bee. You are part of this story too, not separate from nature, but made of it. Cells and sparks, memories in motion, a living thread in the long, unfolding pattern of Earth. So wherever you are, allow your mind to rest. Let your breath slow. Let your thoughts grow soft at the edges. The journey doesn't end. It simply pauses here until curiosity calls again. Sleep well, and thank you for dreaming with us.